It is done. Time to face our end.
Hey all, welcome to MojoPlays. Josh here. You know Thor, you know the Lokis, can't forget the Odins, but the question on everyone's mind is, how powerfully were they portrayed in Assassin's Creed Valhalla? You're all in luck. That's what we'll be looking at today, so get your mythological caps on, and get ready for me to try my best at some of these pronunciations. Jotnar. For this list, we're not ranking any gods themselves, for those listening. We're strictly looking at them through the lens of how they were portrayed in the game AC Valhalla, what powers they were given, how fierce they are as boss fights, and the like. For example, though I'm sure he's mighty capable, Baldur this time around is pretty low tier. Since we're explaining character origins as well, here's your big old spoiler warning. Comment below your choice of warrior god to accompany you through this video, and let's go.
A dog will not keep working for the mere promise of a bow.
How about I beat on his liver till he builds us a wall for free?
Surtr.
Our people may be enemies, but you have earned your welcome here.
The generous king of the Frost Giants is initially set up as a hesitant ally to Havi. Wouldn't you know it, he was darn right to be suspicious, being that our character's entire ambition for paying him a visit was to steal some of that special sauce of knowledge that the Jotun kept locked away. Sad to say, the king and his daughter don't stay friends with our Asgardian Isu for long, as after sharing in a feast, our true intentions are revealed by Loki, leading to a pretty solid boss fight.
Betrayer! Deceiver!
Surtr fights not unlike yourself, wielding a giant sword, striking with wide sweeps and stomps, only to pick up an additional weapon to dual wield once at half health. His attacks alternate between raining ice blasts and knockback strikes, so you'll always have something to look out for in battle. Interestingly, once he falls, we spare him his life, least we could do for double dipping in the guy's jungle juice.
Enjoy yourself. I insist.
Nidhogg.
Spare me your foul breath, worm.
So the Allfather seeks his son.
This nasty-looking flesh wound of a dragon is basically like the Satan of Norse myth, devoted to torturing the guilty and chewing on the life tree itself. Havi happens across the beast during a brief goose chase for his son, and the battle that ensues can go one of many ways. Nidhogg has various powers that he may or may not choose to unleash, which adds a degree of randomness to the battle. But one thing is for certain, if you want to get in any damage, you'll need to step on some toes. Damaging all 4 of his feet will cause a brief stun and allow you to chip away at his actual health bar. But it's easier said than done, since his entire body is surrounded by poison clouds, or undead grunts, or both.
Okay, that's good. It's enough slicing!
If Nidhogg chooses to revive with half health, you'll have to do the song and dance all over again, and since the area provides you with only limited arrows, there's not much you can do except stay light on your feet and prioritize avoiding damage outright. Tyr.
So I must caution you, step with care in this place. What happens here may ripple through the fabric of the 9 worlds.
In Assassin's Creed, Tyr is our trusted lieutenant to Odin. He stands for justice, peace, and happens to be reincarnated as your adopted brother. Nice! Slumber party with Tyr. In the game, we only get to see Tyr fight very briefly when confronting a battle on the Bifrost, and by all accounts he does well. But of more prominent note is his leadership of the Raven clan when brought back to life, since Sigurd and Eivor form one of the most successful Viking families in England. With Sigurd at your side, you take down countless hordes of dudes. You even take down Loki in the form of Basim, a master assassin, despite Tyr losing an arm to match his previous fate yet again from Asgard. Oopsie doops. With him at your side, there's little you won't accomplish, if only he could keep his arms attached while doing so.
Son of Loki, have I not treated you with kindness?
Hell.
Tell me, what do you think of my home? How does it compare to your early memories of the place?
The final boss of Niflheim and goddess of death, it seems like a pretty powerful Norse goddess to me. Once again, people can't help but to mess with Baldur, and the lady sharing a name with HE double hockey sticks is happy to get in your way one more time at the end of the Forgotten Saga expansion. Hel ruthlessly attacks you in a duo with her hound. Trying to take it out will only see it raised again. Man, things don't like to die here. Hel herself launches shockwaves of energy, flies in to slice and dice you, and finally uses the roots of the life tree itself to block projectiles and attack with various arena-covering moves. Unlike most bosses, Hel has no weak spots, offering extra damage to the player. You'll just have to play it smart the whole way through, no freebies. Oh, and I still don't understand the ending. A lot of mumbo-jumbo involving simulations, Hel escaping simulations, Baldur's in a no idea.
You left behind a rotted stump. I nursed it into a dreadful orchard.
Surtr.
Okay. As I knew you must.
The final boss of the most mythological DLC so far, Dawn of Ragnarok, Surtr is fought 3 separate times to try and prevent the Doomsday Prophecy. Surtr was told he was destined to end our character's life, and unless you've completed most of the game, he's gonna do just that, trust me. The fire giant starts the fight at a ridiculously high level, and if you've entered the DLC while still in the early game, you're gonna be one-shotted by lava countless times before giving up. His attacks aren't anything special beyond massive sword swings, but the damage over time from being near his magma will guarantee a stat check of health bar points and fire resistance perks, even if you have perfect timing in combat. This was a pretty accurate depiction of the flaming beast who would go on to destroy Asgard, because if we as Odin didn't stop him, no way any of our pals could. Lo and behold, however, it was a twist, and by offing Surtr where we did, the prophecy came true anyway.
Here, fool. Your twilight comes.
Still drawing breath? I have a cure for that.
The Builder.
Freya, my beloved.
This unnamed master builder from Norse myth had a deal with the Asgardians to build a magic wall. In both depictions from Myth and Assassin's Creed, the builder demands Freya as payment, only to reveal he was a Jotun in disguise the whole time. While Loki succeeds at distracting him from succeeding in the deal, just know in the original tale, things get a little crazier than depicted here.
Loki becomes pregnant.
And a battle with the builder was inevitable. Bold of him to fight Asgard's biggest gods / Isu single-handedly, I'll give him that, and the boss fight that follows is pretty fun. Most of the builder's body is invulnerable, so you must dodge his massive hammer swings and take to the air for badass slow-mo headshots. If you didn't know of his gimmick beforehand, many players report having to give up on the battle and stock themselves with extra arrows in a rematch. A difficult boss to be sure, and yet, he still doesn't get a name.
I am called the Builder by most.
He wants your name, not your trade.
Thor.
I have slain giants and monsters. I am endlessly brave. I am adored by the masses from warrior to slave.
Now, whatever you're expecting might not quite be it from ACV Thor. The Isu god is depicted as a big, battle-hungry oaf and not a lot else. He does a decent job when facing an army on the Bifrost. Beyond that, we don't really see him much, though he has a few great scenes when reincarnated as Halfdan Ragnarson. It ain't subtle, but the hammer-wielding brute becomes a successful Viking Jarl, much like ourselves. All in all, we can prove the original Thor is powerful because Havi, Eivor, Odin gets their hands on his iconic weapon themselves, and Mjolnir really steals the show. The hammer keeps enemies stun-locked with blasts of electrical damage, and dual-wielding it can create some overpowered combos. Thor knows how to pick 'em.
Enough of this sorcery, woman. Just point me towards the enemy and I will handle them.
Fenrir.
The Aesir worry about your growing size and strength.
Play now.
Destined to be the end of Odin and instrumental in Ragnarok, the giant wolf haunts you from almost the beginning of the game. We have to fight him twice, once in his youth before learning he's Loki's son, and a second time to try and imprison him for good. He makes for one of the hardest boss fights, though not always for intentional reasons. His hitbox often becomes problematic, being that the beast can burrow under the ground, appear, and leap around rapidly, leading to a lot of missed shots. Sometimes hits won't connect when they feel like they should, and other times he's sending tornadoes and hurling boulders at you. Since he is the final boss of the Asgard world, expect to be in this fight for a long time before he falls. No question about it, he's a god-eater and a lot of people will feel like they're destined to be his lunch.
I will kill you, all of you, gorging on Aesir flesh.
Loki.
Clear eyes, strong haunches. It must come from powerful stock.
You fools.
A man that needs little introduction, Loki is a thorn in all of the hero's sides for a large part of the game. Of course, the big reveal comes when one of our own assassins in the Brotherhood turns out to be a reincarnation of Loki. When you fight him the first time, he's a bit of a teleporting scumbag with a shapeshifting habit. Where he comes into his own is with the Master Assassin training from the Order in the body of Basim. This new form stands as the final boss with gimmick upon gimmick needed to defeat him. He'll use the assassin tricks of the past, like smoke bombs to hamper you, or even try to hit and blade you from above, but even worse, his health bar is never visible, and you can only deal real damage to him in a specific marked stone area. After relieving the reborn Loki of his hidden blade, you'll break into a classic chase and endure one last counterattacking phase before old Odin puts him back in his place. Then, in a never-before-seen feat, he proceeds to cheat death and by all accounts, become our next protagonist. Crazy. Who else but this guy?
Do not be so sure of that. The game is not over. The game is never over!
And you know we couldn't forget the true powerhouse of the Norse gods. Ratatoskr. Squirrel rap battle?
True tooth, I am named for the way I bite at the bark of this world tree.
Nah, for real. Odin.
Everything you believe in stirs before you. Yet you question all. You question the very gods.
The Allfather, the Wise One, the Lord of the Aesir, the horsehair mustache, Havi, and the source of our main character's power for a large part of the story. He is depicted with numerous powers, almost all of which we get to experience firsthand. Shapeshifting, disguising as the enemy, loads of special attacks, taking on the elemental powers of fire and ice, teleporting, etc, etc. Not to forget, he brought many players' weapons of choice, Odin's lightning spear, into battle, which you must face him with at the end of the game. His boss fight where you deny him the right of your sane mind can only be conquered by going outside the bounds of a traditional fight. Yep, a pause menu. Odin will drag you back into combat endlessly if you try and attack or run, and only by refusing to play and unequipping your axe can you escape his clutches. So long, Odin, and thanks for all the fish. And by fish, I mean cool gameplay.
Glory! Power! What more do you need?
Everything else.
Thanks for watching. Check out our other videos, and if you like what you saw, check out Mojo Creed for bite-sized videos on Assassin's Creed.